Hello my lovely kids, this is your mentor Neetu. We are doing Math Skills Class 8 by G. Ram Books. So today we are starting Chapter 12, Data Handling. So very interesting learning outcomes. In this chapter you will learn about grouping of data, bar graph, double bar graph, histogram, pie chart or circle graph and probability. So now boot up. To recapitulate previous knowledge of concepts, competency based question. A part, multiple choice questions. The first one, the average of 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 is. Average means sum of observations divided by number of observation. So 1 plus 2, 3, 3 plus 3, 6. 6 plus 4, 10, 10 plus 5, 15. 15 divided by 5, that is 3. So second part, answer is 3, right? The second one, if the mean of 10 values is 3, then the sum of all the values is, that is, mean is what? Mean is sum of observations divided by number of observations. So sum of observation, mean into number of observation, that is 10 into 3, that is 30. So answer is third part, right? The third one, the range of the data 10, 13, 15, 11 and 21 is. Range means maximum minus minimum. So what is maximum? 21 and minimum is 10. So 21 minus 10, that is 11. The fourth one, the mode of the data 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 3, 1 and 4. Mode means the number which has maximum frequency. So which number is occurring more time? You can see here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1 is occurring 5 times. 2 is occurring 1, 2, 3 times and 3 is occurring 2 times. So mode is 1, right? So answer is 1. Now come to B part, filling the blanks. The first one, the difference between the highest and the lowest observation of a data is called the range. What is this? This is range. The second one, the dash of a set of observations is the observation that occurs most often, that is mode. Okay. The third one, in a given data arranged in ascending or descending order, the dash gives us the middle observation, that is median gives us the middle observation. The fourth one, the mean, mode and median of a given data lie in between the dash and the maximum values of the data. It lies in between the minimum and maximum values of the data, right? Now come to C part, write T for true and F for false statements. The first one, the median of the data 23, 36, 45, 17, 18, 25, 35 is 25. So just first arrange in ascending or descending order. So we are arranging in ascending order. So lowest term is 17, then 18, then we have 23, then 25, then 35, then 36 and then 45. Total 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So middle value is 7 plus 1, 8 by 2 means fourth term, that is 25. So answer is 25. This is true, right? The second one, a bar graph is the pictorial representation of data. Yes, this is true. The third one, single bar graphs help to compare two collections of data at a glance. No, this statement is false. The fourth one, range is the difference between the highest value and the lowest value of observation. Yes, this statement is true. Okay. Now come to introduction part. We all know that data is the given or available information raw data like an unsolved puzzle which makes no meaningful impression at the first glance other than being a collection of information. So the first step for systematic investigation of a data is to present the raw data consisting of separate entries called observations into a methodical presentation and tabulation. The data can then be represented graphically or pictorially using various tools like bar graph, histogram, pie chart, etc. In this chapter, we will learn how to represent data using a bar graph, pie or circle graph, and many more. Now, grouping of data. So far, we have studied about ungrouped data. However, when the number of observations is large, the data set can be classified into respective groups to make it easier to analyze and present the data. Presentation and classification of data in groups along with the frequency of each group is known as the frequency distribution of grouped data. Now, important terms. The first one is class interval. Each group into which the raw data is condensed is known as the class interval. The next is class limit. The end numbers of a class interval are known as class limits. The smallest number of the data set is the lower class limit and the largest is the upper class limit. The next is class size. The difference between the upper and lower limit of a class is known as its class size. And the next is class mark. The class mark is the midpoint of a respective class interval. So class mark equals to upper limit plus lower limit divided by 2, right? I hope these are clear to you. Now let us learn how to make groups of the data as given below. So we have some numbers. Now what to do? We will follow some steps. Step 1, put the numbers in order, then find the smallest and the largest values in your data and calculate the range. हम अरेंज कर देंगे नंबर्स को, then find smallest value and the largest value. Smallest value is 1, largest value is 18. So what is the range? Range is 18 minus 1, that is 17. Okay. Now step 2. Now calculate an approximate group size by dividing the range by the number of groups you would like to have. So then round up the group size to a singular digit. So let us say we want about 5 groups. So here divide the range by 5. 17 divided by 5. 3.4 means then round that up to 4. Okay. Now step 3. Pick a starting value that is less than or equal to the smallest value. Try to make it a multiple of the group size if possible. So see here what to do. Step 4. Now calculate the list of groups. Here groups, here frequency. So we are starting from 0. So 0 to 4, then 4 to 8, then 8 to 12, 12 to 16, 16 to 20. So here 0 to 4 means observations greater than or equal to 0 but less than 4. And similarly 4 to 8 means observation greater than or equal to 4 but less than 8, and so on, right? Now step 5. Now tally the results to find the frequencies as shown below. अब हम देखेंगे हमारे पास ग्रुप्स हैं, टैली मार्क्स हैं एंड फ्रीक्वेंसी है. नाउ 0 to 4, 0 और 4 के बीच में कौन कौन सी वैल्यूज हैं, हाउ मेनी टाइम्स, सो यू हैव टू जस्ट फाइंड इट आउट. सपोज 3 numbers are there, so frequency is 3 and tally marks like this. Okay, 3 vertical lines. Now 4 to 8, here 7 numbers, so here 5 and 2, one bunch of 5 and then 2, right? Then 8 to 12, here 12 observations, so 5, 5 and 2, okay. Then 12 to 16, here 7 observations, so 5 and 2. Then 16 to 20, we have 9 observations, so here 5 and 4, okay. So like this, and total is 38. Now factometer data presented in this manner is said to be grouped, and the distribution obtained is called the group frequency distribution. And the second point, group frequency distribution helps us to draw meaningful inferences. Now let us learn more through an example. See here, let us attempt example. Construct a group frequency distribution with suitable class interval size of marks obtained by 50 students of a class as given below. So here we have 50 students marks. So now after making the frequency distribution table, answer these questions. So first of all, make group frequency distribution table. So what to do? Arrange the marks in ascending order. We get the data as below. Now we are getting minimum value is 12 and the maximum is 77. So what is range? Range is 77 minus 12, that is 65. So what is class interval size? Range divided by number of groups. So 65 upon 10 means 6.5, that is equal to 7. Now factometer, here we have considered number of groups as 10. यहाँ पर हमने number of groups कितने लिए हैं? 10. So now here what to do? Groups, telemarks and frequency. So smallest value is 12. So 12 to 19. Then 19 to 26. Then 26 to 33, 7 difference. Then 33 to 40, 40 to 47, 47 to 54, 54 to 61, 61 to 68 and 68 to 75 and 75 to 82, okay. Now here groups, telemarks and frequency. Now check between 12 and 19 how many numbers comes. So here 2, so frequency is 2 and telemarks 2. ऐसे आप हर एक ग्रुप की चेक करेंगे frequency, so you are getting such type of table, right? Now give the answer of these question. A part, how many students have scored less than 40? So 40 से कम marks जितने आए हैं, कितने students के आए हैं? So we can count what? So here number of students who have scored less than 40 means आप कौन से groups consider करेंगे? So this and this. Okay. So 2 plus 2 plus 3 plus 6 means 13 students, right? Now the B part, what is the question? What is the class mark of the class interval with frequency 10? So with frequency 10, which class interval? That is 54 to 61. हमें इसका class mark find करना है, means 54 plus 61 divided by 2, that is 57.5. Okay. Now C, next part. C part, which class interval has the highest frequency? सबसे ज़्यादा frequency किस class interval की है? That is 47 to 54, 11. So the class interval 47 to 54 has the highest frequency of 11. Come to next part, D part. What percentage of students scored more than 61? 61 marks से ज़्यादा कितने students हैं, उनका क्या percentage है? So number of students who scored more than 61, this and these groups, right? So 6 plus 2 plus 2, that is 10, and total number of students 50. We have to find out the percentage. So 10 by 50 into 100%. So answer is 20%, right? I hope this is clear to you. Now exercise 12.1 based on this type of example. See question number 1. A class of 30 students took a mock test in mathematics. They were given percentage of marks as follow. So here these are the marks, and construct a frequency distribution table using equal class intervals. Now here marks given. Now arrange in ascending order. Find the smallest one, find the greatest one, then find the class intervals, frequency, telemarks, then you can construct a frequency distribution table. Similarly, you can try remaining question. Now come to fourth question. Study this frequency distribution table and answer the questions given below. So here class interval, daily income in rupees, and here frequency, number of workers. So now here 100 to 125, daily income in rupees, how many workers? 45. Then 125 to 150, 25. So like this. Now question number 1, which class interval has the lowest frequency? So see the frequency, which is the minimum number, which is the lowest number, that is 20. So answer is 300 to 325. So class interval 300 to 325. The second one, what is the upper limit of the class interval? 175 to 200. So upper limit is 200. Okay, this is the lower class limit, this is the upper class limit. Now the third one, which two class intervals have the same frequency? Same frequency, check out. So we can see this 55 and 55, same. So which class intervals? 150 to 175 and 225 to 250, right? Now come to next, what is the class size of each class interval? Class size, so that is what? That is 25. Their difference, 100 to 125, 25, 125 to 150, 25. So class size is 25. Now the fifth one, what is the class mark of the sixth class interval? So here see the class mark of sixth class interval, first, second, third, fourth, fifth and sixth. So class mark, how do we find? 225 lower limit plus upper limit divided by 2, right? So that is 475 upon 2. You can calculate it. 2 2s are 4, 2 3s are 6, 2 7s are 14. So this is 237.5, right? I hope these are clear to you. Now come to next, bar graph. A bar graph is a pictorial representation of numerical data using bars of different heights. Features of bar graph. Its features include the first one, rectangular bars are drawn on one axis depicting the variables. The second one, the value of those variables is shown on the other axis. And the third one, the bars are equally distanced from each other. And the fourth, height of the bar is dependent on the value of the variable. And the fifth, the width of the bars should be uniform. So you know very well these points. So now we are doing some questions. Let us attempt example. The following table gives the data about the number of hours spent on various activities by Rajesh in a day. So number of hours spent on various activities given: study, TV watching, using gadgets, sleeping, others, and here number of hours spent. Now draw a bar graph to represent this data. So what to do? Step 1. Construct two perpendicular lines, two perpendicular axes, horizontal and vertical, on a graph paper. name the horizontal axis as x-axis and the vertical axis as y-axis. So we have taken two perpendicular axes. This is the x-axis and this is the y-axis. Now step 2. Take activities along x-axis and number of hours frequency along y-axis. Along x-axis we are taking activities and along y-axis we are taking number of hours, right? Now step 3. Choose a uniform width and gap of the bars along the x-axis. जो भी हम बार्स लेंगे उनकी विड्थ दैट शुड बी यूनिफॉर्म और जो उनके बीच में गैप होगा दैट शुड बी सेम, राइट? स्टेप 4. चूज अ सुटेबल स्केल टू फाइंड द हाइट ऑफ द बार. Here we take 1 unit as 1 hour. So here what to do? हमें choose करना है scale. So 1 unit equals to 1 hour on y-axis. यानी 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 इक्वल डिस्टेंस पर हम इन्हें मार्क कर देंगे, राइट? नाउ बार ग्राफ शोइंग द नंबर ऑफ आवर्स स्पेंट ऑन वेरियस एक्टिविटीज इज एज फॉलो. सी द फर्स्ट एक्टिविटी इज स्टडी. सो नंबर ऑफ आवर्स 5. तो हम क्या करेंगे, एक बार ड्रॉ करेंगे टिल दिस नंबर 5. ओके, नाउ लीव द गैप. Second activity is TV watching. Number of hours 2. So corresponding to 2, draw a bar of the same width and with the same gap. Then next is using gadgets, that is 3. Number of hours 3. So draw a bar, okay, of height 3. Then next sleeping 8 hours. Then here like this, and the next is others 6 hours. So like this. Right, so this is the bar graph. I hope this is clear to you. Very interesting. Now the next is double bar graph. A double bar graph is used to show two sets of data simultaneously. It is useful for the comparison of two sets of data as in the following cases. हम क्या कर सकते हैं, डबल बार ग्राफ की हेल्प से कंपैरिजन कर सकते हैं. See case 1. When results of students in different subjects for 2 years are to be shown. Case 2. When result of a student in different subjects is to be compared with the class average in those subjects. And case 3. When current sale of the production of a company is to be compared with the sale of the previous year, either item wise or month wise, right? So now let us attempt some examples. Example here, the performance of two students Varun and Pallavi in a particular examination is given below. Draw a double bar graph for the data. Here subjects given: English, Science, Maths, SST and Hindi. And here Varun scored these marks in different subjects and Pallavi scored these marks in different subjects. Now what to do? How to draw? So step 1, draw two perpendicular lines representing x and y axis separately. Same first step. Now step 2, along x axis mark the subjects at equal widths and equal gaps. Along y axis mark the marks obtained choosing a suitable scale. Okay, now step 3, along y axis choose a scale 1 unit equals to 10 marks. यानी 10 का हम difference ले लेंगे 10, 20, 30, 40 like this. And step 4, draw bars of equal widths corresponding to the marks obtained by both the students as shown in the figure. So see how to do it. So take two axes, x axis and y axis, subjects along x axis, marks along y axis, write the scale over here. Scale 1 unit equals to 10 marks. And now we have two students. So here 1 bar for Varun and 1 bar for Pallavi. So Varun के लिए हमने ये डिजाइनिंग वाला ले लेंगे and Pallavi के लिए this is the plain one, right? So you can choose on your own anything. Now for English, the first subject is English. Now leave some gap. Okay. Now for English marks, Varun scored 80 and Pallavi scored 85. So draw a bar of 80 and draw a bar of 85. So this first two bars representing Varun's and Pallavi's English marks, right? Now leave the same gap. Now science marks 75 and Pallavi's 82. So 75 bar ले लेंगे and 82 का bar ले लेंगे like this. Then leave the same gap. Maths marks 93 and 95. So 93 means between 90 and 100. So we can draw here 93 and then 95. So this one. Then next is SST marks 77 and 86. So between 70 and 80, 77, and the next is 86. Okay, 86 for Pallavi. ऐसे Hindi marks 67 and 74. Okay, so I hope these are clear to you. Very easy, very interesting. Now the next topic we are talking about histogram. The graphical representation of group data is called a histogram. It consists of rectangles with class intervals as the bases and the corresponding frequencies as heights, such that there is no gap between any two successive rectangles. Bar graph में हम gap लेते हैं, same gap, but histogram में there is no gap. Okay, so we follow these steps for drawing histogram. Step 1, the class intervals of the group data are drawn on the x-axis. Step 2, the frequencies are plotted on the y-axis. And step 3, the rectangles drawn are proportional to the frequencies of their classes. So see some examples. Let us attempt example 1. The following table shows the marks obtained by 50 students in an entrance examination. Draw a histogram for this data. So marks obtained, number of students. So here we have class intervals 0 to 10, 10 to 20, 20 to 30, 30 to 40 and 40 to 50. And number of students given. So now how to do it? We take class intervals on the x-axis and the frequencies means students on the y-axis. So on y-axis 1 unit represents 2 students. So see the data. All are multiples of 2. So we can take 1 unit represents 2 students. Now draw 2 axes, x-axis, y-axis, right? यहाँ पे हम नंबरिंग कर देंगे 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, right? Now the first is 0 to 10 and height is 12. So draw a bar, draw a rectangle of height 12 over here. Now the next is 14. So no gap, 10 to 20, 14. So draw the rectangle. The next is 10. So draw a rectangle of height 10. Right, class interval is 20 to 30. Now next is 30 to 48. So here draw next rectangle, height is 8, and then the last 40 to 50, that is 6. Right. So these are the marks and these are the number of students. Okay. Now factometer, difference between a histogram and a bar graph, very important. In a bar graph, the height of each bar matters, note its width, and it is made for ungrouped data. In a histogram, the width as well as the height of each rectangle matters because the areas of the rectangles are proportional to the corresponding class frequencies, and histogram is constructed for grouped data. Right? Now example 2. Given below is the histogram showing the weights of 36 students of a hostel. So read the histogram carefully and answer these questions. Here histogram is given, weights given along x-axis, number of students along y-axis, and scale 1 unit equals to 1 student. Now here the first one, what is the class size? So you can see class intervals given 40 to 50, 50 to 60, 60 to 70, 70 to 80, 80 to 90 and 90 to 100. So class size is 10, right? So the next question is, see the next one, how many students are there in the following class intervals of weights? A part 80 to 90. How many students? So there are 4 students, okay? There are 4 students in this interval. Now B part 40 to 70. So 40 to 70 means 40 to 50, then 50 to 60 and then 60 to 70. So 40 to 50, 10, okay? So 10 in this interval, 40 to 50, then 50 to 60, 8 and 60 to 70, 4. So total 10 plus 8 plus 4, that is 22, right? Now C part 50 to 90, it means 50 to 60, 60 to 70, 70 to 80 and 80 to 90. So first of all, see 50 to 60, how many? 8. 60 to 70, how many? 4. 70 to 80, 8. And then 80 to 90, 4. Add all. So 8 plus 4 plus 8 plus 4. Total is 24, right? I hope these are clear to you. Now the third part, how many students weigh 60 kg or more but less than 70 kg? So here it is given weights. They are asking how many students weigh 60 kg more, means 60 to 70, because less than 70 it means that interval is 60 to 70. So class interval 60 to 70 means weights more than or equal to 60 but less than 70. So how many students are there? 4. So answer is 4, right? I hope this is clear to you. Now factometer. When the first class interval does not start from 0, then we give a break by using king symbol, because now you can see class interval starts from 40, it is not starting from 0. तो आपने क्या करना है, यहाँ पर एक king symbol show करना है, right? I hope this is clear to you. Now the next is exercise 12.2 based on such type of examples. See the first one, a survey of 150 people revealed their favorite fruits as given below. So here some fruits given and number of people given. So represent the above data by a bar graph. You can see numbers like 35, 30, 12, 25, 48. So you can take 5, 5, you can take scale on y-axis, 1 unit equals to 5 fruits, right? So I hope you can try this one. Now see the second one, the adjacent bar graph shows the usual modes of transport to school for the students in a class. So answer these questions by studying this bar graph. So here you can see a beautiful bar graph. So transports along x-axis and number of students along y-axis and scale 1 unit equals to 1 student. Now the first, how many students are there all together in the class? So you can see by bus how many students come by bus, it is 5, and by taxi 1, by bike 3, by train 2, by car 6 and by walk that is also 5. So add all, 5 plus 1 6 plus 3 9 plus 2 11 plus 6 17 plus 5 22. So total 22. The second one, how many students preferred traveling by train? So by train that is 2, right? Okay, the third one, which is the most and the least used transport system used by the students. So most one, that is car, okay, maximum 6 students they are using car. So car is the most used, and the least used, that is taxi. Only one student is using taxi, right? Now the fourth one, what percent of students prefer walking and going by the bus? So by bus how many? 5. So what percentage? So 5 upon 22 into 100, right? So you can calculate it. So 500 upon 22. So divide 500 by 22, you will get the percentage. Similarly, walking. So walking how many prefer? 5. Same, 5 upon 22 into 100. So same percentage, you can calculate it, right? Now the third question, according to the given double bar graph, answer these questions. Here you can see a double bar graph. So along x-axis we have flavors of ice cream, and here number of ice cream sold, right? And here sales of different ice creams flavors. Here shop A and shop B, two shops given, okay, and different flavors. And what is the sale? It is showing that one. Now the first one, how many mango ice cream was sold by shop A? So that is shop A means the shaded one, and the plain one is shop B. So here mango ice cream how many? That is 100. So answer is 100, right? Now the second one, which flavor of ice cream do people like the most in shop A? So maximum, see the shop A, which flavor is the most liked by the people? So that is which one? That is mango. Highest is mango. So that's why answer is mango. Okay. Now see the third part, find the total number of chocolate ice creams sold by shop A and shop B. So see this one, chocolate flavor. So by shop A how many? This is 180, this is 90, and above 90 this is 92, and this is 80. So total is 172, right? Now come to next, find the total number of coconut ice cream sold by shop A and shop B. So coconut ice cream, so that is what? That is 50 plus this one is 30. So 50 plus 30, total is 80, right? Now the fifth one, which flavor of ice cream do people like the most in shop B? Chocolate or vanilla? So see, by shop B, chocolate or vanilla? So this one is greater than vanilla, so this bar is greater, so it means people like which one? Chocolate flavor, right? Now the sixth part, find the total number of ice creams sold by shop B. So mango ice creams, that is 90, almond ice cream, that is 70, chocolate ice cream, that is 80, coconut ice cream, that is 30, and vanilla, that is 60. So add all, 90 plus 70, 160, plus 80, 240, plus 30, 270, plus 60, that is 330, right? I hope this is clear to you. Similarly, you can try remaining parts. Now come to like sixth question. The histogram given below shows the price and number of magazines sold in a bookstore. So answer these questions. Here this is a histogram, price along x-axis and number of magazines along y-axis, and scale 1 unit equals to 10 magazines, like 10, 20, 30, 40, like this. So here answer these questions. The first one, what is the class size? So see here 0 to 10, 10 to 20, 20 to 30. So class size is 10 only. The second one, what is the total number of magazines sold? So here for this interval 60, the next is 70, the next is 50, then the next is 40, then the next is 30. So add all these, you will get the answer, right? Now the next is, in which price group the largest number of magazines are sold? So highest bar, this one. So which one? 10 to 20, right? Okay, now the fourth one, how many magazines are sold between the price group of, like A part 10 to 40. So what will you do? 10 to 20, then 20 to 30, then 30 to 40. Add all these. Okay, similarly you can try remaining parts. I hope these are clear to you. Now come to next, we have pie chart or circle graph, very important. Now the next is pie chart or circle graph. A pie chart or a circle graph is a circular diagram in which the observations are represented by non-intersecting sections of a circle. The size of each sector corresponds to the magnitude or the frequency of each observation, and the whole circle represents the total sum of the observations. See, central angle for a component. The central angle for a component of the pie chart is given as follow. How do we find central angle for each observation? So central angle for a component equals to value of the component upon sum of the values of all components multiply by 360 degree. Now how to make a pie chart or circle graph? In order to make a pie chart or circle graph, we follow these steps. Step 1. Calculate the central angle for each component, which is given by value of each component divided by sum of the values of all components multiply by 360 degree. Step 2. Draw a circle of convenient radius. Step 3. Within this circle, draw a horizontal radius. Step 4. Starting with the horizontal radius, draw radii, making central angles corresponding to the values of the respective components till all the components are used up. These radii divide the whole circle into various sectors. When you will do question, it would be more clear to you. Now step 5, shade each sector with different colors or designs. Now let us learn to draw pie charts or circle graph through some examples. So here, let us attempt example 1. The table below shows the expenditure in percentage incurred on the construction of a house in a city. Items given and expenditure given in percentage: bricks, cement, steel, labor, miscellaneous. So here represent the above data by a pie chart. So you know very well total percentage is 100. So how we can find the central angle for each component, that is value of the component divided by 100 into 360 degree. Now make a table like this. So here calculation of central angles. So हम क्या करेंगे, यहाँ पर items and expenditure in percentage and here central angle. So the first one is bricks, 15%. Find the central angle. 15 upon 100 into 360 degree. So find the central angle. 15 upon 100 into 360 degree. 1010 cancel. You know very well how to calculate it. Cut it by 5. Then it is 54 degree. Similarly for cement, 20%, 20 upon 100 into 360 degree, that is 72 degree. Then steel, 10%, 10 upon 100 into 360 degree, that is 36 degree. Then labor, 25%, 25 upon 100 into 360 degree, that is 90 degree. Then miscellaneous, 30%, 30 upon 100 into 360 degree, that is 108 degree. Now we have all the angles. Now see what to do. Now follow these steps to construct a pie chart. Step 1, draw a circle of any convenient radius. कोई भी रेडियस हम चूज करेंगे, एक सर्कल ड्रॉ कर लेंगे, राइट. नाउ स्टेप 2, ड्रॉ अ हॉरिजॉन्टल रेडियस ऑफ द सर्कल. आप कहीं पर भी एक रेडियस ले लें हॉरिजॉन्टल, इट वुड बी इजियर फॉर यू, राइट. Now step 3, draw sectors starting from the horizontal radius with central angles of 54 degree. तो first of all हम क्या लेंगे, 54 degree लेंगे angle, right. Suppose हमने this radius, now with the help of protractor we can draw an angle 54 degree. So this becomes a sector. अब हम इसको बेस लेंगे. with the help of protractor we can draw next angle 72 degree. this one is the second sector. अब इसको बेस लेंगे. with the help of protractor we can draw 36 degree. now this is the base. now with the help of protractor we can draw 90 degree, and with this base we can draw angle 108 degree. So we are getting like this, right. Now step 4, shade the sectors differently using different colors and label item. So now we obtain the required pie chart as shown in this figure. I hope this is clear to you. Very interesting. Now see example 2. The following data represents the favorite type of movies of a group of friends. Represent this data through a pie chart. So now here favorite types of movies given like comedy, action, romance, drama, scientific fiction. So now solution, we need to figure out how many degrees for each pie slice correctly called a sector. So full circle has 360 degrees. So we do the following calculation. अब हम क्या करेंगे, movies and here number of friends and here central angle. So here comedy, 4 friends like comedy. So what to do, total is, first find total. Total is 20. So 4 by 20 into 360 degree, that is 72 degree. ऐसे next है action, उसमें 5 है. So 5 by 20 into 360 degree, that is 90 degree. The next is romance, here 6. So 6 by 20 into 360 degree, we can find the angle. So similarly we can find the angles for these two, right. Now what to do, draw a circle of convenient radius and then draw the angles. You will get different sectors. आपने उनको naming करना है and angle you have to mention. I hope this is clear to you. Very interesting. Now example 3. The pie chart given below shows the sources of funds to be collected by the National Highways Authority of India NHAI for its phase 2 projects. Now study the pie chart and answer these questions. Now sources of funds to be arranged by NHAI for phase 2 projects in crores rupees. So here, like here given external assistance, SPVS, toll, NUT, like this, right. So here now the first one, where is the maximum number of funds required. So you can see which one is the biggest sector. This one, market borrowing. So here looking at the pie chart we can conclude that market borrowing requires the maximum funds. Now the second part, what percentage of funds is required for toll. So you can see here amount is rupees 4,910. So we have to find the percentage. So first find total funds, add all. So we are getting rupees 57,600. So this amount 4,910 divided by total into 100. So that is 8.5%, right? Now come to third part. What is the central angle corresponding to annuity? So annuity, it is rupees 6,000. So we have to find the central angle. So 6,000 upon total into 360 degree calculated, that is 37.5 degree, right? Now come to fourth part. What is the approximate ratio of funds to be arranged through SPVS and market borrowing? So ratio find करना है हमें. So SPVS में how much? 5,252 and market borrowing में we have 29,952. So just calculated, we are getting 101:576. I hope this is clear to you. Now see exercise 12.3 based on such type of example. See question number 1 to 5. Prepare pie charts or circle graphs for the questions given below. See the second question. A group of 100 children was asked to name their favorite flavors of ice cream. So here favorite flavors given and number of children given. So we have to draw the pie chart. So first of all, find total number of children, add all these. 4 plus 6 10 plus 7 17 plus 3 20. So 0 2 here, 2 plus 2 4, 4 8, 1 9 and 1 10. So 100. Now find the angle for each number, like here 24 upon 100 first angle into 360. So we can calculate it. Similarly calculate angle for this flavor, chocolate flavor, and then you can draw the pie chart, you know very well. So I hope this is clear to you. Now see the sixth question. A survey was carried out to find the type of music that a certain group of young people liked in a city. The pie chart given below shows the findings of this survey. So here one pie chart is given, music lovers. Here this 40%, 20%, 10% and 30%. So here this one, this dark one means semi-classical. The pink one, that is classical. And this light grey one, that is folk. And this one light pink, that is 40%, right? So here it is given different types of music. So using this pie chart, answer these questions. The first one, if 45 people liked classical music, then how many young people were surveyed? Means total number of people we have to find out. So here classical music, this dark one, 10%. So 10% of total, 10% of X, that is equals to 45. So 10 by 100 into X equals to 45. So can you find X from here? 4500 upon 10, that is 450 people total, right? I hope this is clear to you. Now the second one, which type of music is liked by the minimum number of people? So this is 10% classical, okay? So which type of music is liked by minimum number of people? That is classical music, right? Now the third one, if a cassette company were to make 2000 CDs, then how many of each type would they make? So like here, percentage given, like 10% of 2000 classical. So 10 by 100 into 2000, that is 200. So classical music, that is 200 CDs, right? Then here like semi-classical, this is 20%. So 20% of 2000. So like this you can calculate for each, right? So I hope this is clear to you. Now the next topic is probability. Probability is the likelihood of a certain event to happen. So it is widely used in scientific experiments, weather forecasting, elections, insurance, etc. try to find about it few definitions related to probability. So here the first one is experiment. An experiment is a controlled operation that yields a set of results, for example, rolling a dice, tossing a coin, etc. The second one, outcomes. The possible results of the experiment are called outcomes, okay? And the sample spaces, the set of all possible outcomes is called the sample space. For example, when two coins are tossed, then the sample space will be 4, means head head or head tail or tail head or tail tail. So it is denoted as S, right? The next is event. An event is the sub-collection of the sample space. For example, when two coins are tossed simultaneously, the chances of getting two heads is one event and getting one head and one tail is another event. So it is denoted as E, right? Now the next is random experiment. An experiment in which all possible outcomes are known and the exact outcome cannot be predicted is called a random experiment. In fact, randomness is a key aspect of probability, right? The next is formula of probability. If we perform an experiment and n is the total number of possible outcomes, then the probability of occurrence of an outcome in event E is given by P of E, number of favorable outcomes to E, divided by total number of possible outcomes, right? Now absorbing facts, the probability of an event lies between 0 and 1, both inclusive. For example, if two coins are tossed simultaneously, then the probability of getting a head and a tail is given by P of H and T or P of E. That is 2 by 4 equals to 1 by 2. Why? Because total is, you can get HH or HT or TH or TT, total is 4, and favorable outcomes, we want head and tail, so 1 and 2. So 2 out of 4, that's why answer is 1 by 2, right? I hope this is clear to you. Now the next is tree diagrams. As stated earlier, the possible results of an experiment are called its outcomes. In order to solve more difficult probability problems, we must be able to find all the possible outcomes of the experiment. So tree diagrams are helpful in finding these sample spaces. For example, if a coin is tossed, the sample space can be represented as first row head or tail, okay? Or first row we can write head and tail, and we can write S equals to H and T, right? Similarly, possible outcomes of two coins tossed simultaneously is first coin, second coin, and this is the possible outcome. So first coin we are getting head, and the second coin may head or tail, right? And the first coin may we are getting tail, and here head and tail. So what we are getting possible outcomes HH, HT, TH, TT. So HH, HT, TH, TT. 4 possible outcomes, right? The next, when 3 coins are tossed simultaneously, the possible outcomes can easily be obtained from this following tree diagram. See here, first coin, second coin and third coin, and here possible outcomes. So first coin head and tail. So first coin पे head है, second head or tail. Then okay, if tail here, head or tail. अब third coin में head tail, first में head है, second में भी head है, and then third में head or tail. Similarly here head tail, here head and tail, head and tail. So what we are getting? We are getting H, 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 तीनों पे हेड होगा, और we can get here HHT. This is the possible outcome, right? Or we get HTH or HTT, okay? Or we get here THH or THT, or we get TTH or TTT, right? So total outcomes 8. So we can write like this. Fine. So let us summarize the result. Number of coins and sample space. अगर number of coins 1 है, then sample space we are getting 2. If number of coins 2, we are getting sample space 4. And if number of coins 3, we are getting 8. ऐसे अगर हम coins increase करते जाएंगे, then sample space also increasing. So here can we predict the sample space for 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8 coins? Yes. If 1 coin is tossed, sample space is 2. If 2 coins are tossed, sample space is 2 into 2, 2 raised to the power 2, that is 4. If 3 coins are tossed, then sample space is 2 into 2 into 2, 2 raised to the power 3, that is 8. If 4 coins are tossed, then sample space will be 2 into 2 into 2 into 2, means 2 raised to the power 4, that is 16. So जितने number of coins होंगे, sample space क्या होगा? 2 raised to the power n. If coin n, then 2 raised to the power n is the sample space, right? Now hence we have generalized the result for total number of possible outcomes in an event, that is tossing a coin. Similarly, you may try to generalize the result of sample space when n number of die are rolled. Try it, right? I hope this is clear to you. Example 1, there are 4 red balls and 5 blue balls in a bag. Then if one ball is drawn at random, find the probability of getting 1 red ball and 1 blue ball. So first find the total number of balls in a bag. 4 plus 5, that is 9. So total number of possible outcomes 9. Now as the bag contains 4 red balls, the number of favorable outcomes 4. Okay, so what is the probability of getting 1 red ball? That is 4 out of 9. 4 by 9, right? Now see the second part, 1 blue ball. So here total blue balls 5. So number of favorable outcomes 5. So what is the probability of getting 1 blue ball? That is 5 out of 9. 5 upon 9, right? Very simple. Now example 2. 2 coins are tossed simultaneously. Find the probability of getting first one 2 tails. So since 2 coins are tossed simultaneously, the sample space would be S, HH, HT, TH and TT. Now favorable outcome, we want 2 tails. That is only one case, okay? So 1 out of 4, 1 by 4, right? Now the second one, at least 1 tail. कम से कम 1 tail, ज़्यादा भी हो सकता है. So कम से कम 1 tail, it means HT, TH and TT. So 3 favorable outcomes. So that is 3 upon 4, right? Now the third one, no tail, means only head. So that is only HH. So favorable outcomes for no tail, that is HH, means 1. So 1 upon 4, right? I hope these are clear to you. Now example 3. 3 coins are tossed. Find the probability of getting the first one 3 heads together, and the second one exactly 1 tail, and the third one 2 heads. So now here since 3 coins are tossed, so total number of possible outcomes 8, right? So sample space हम लिखेंगे HHH, HHT, HTH, HTT, THH, THT, TTH, TTT, right? So now we want 3 heads together. So that is only 1, this one, the first one. So number of favorable outcomes only 1 out of 8. So 1 upon 8, right? Now the second one, exactly 1 tail, only 1 tail. So here 1, 2, 3, only 3 outcomes. So number of favorable outcomes HHT, HTH, THH. So 3 upon 8, right? Now the third one here, 2 heads. So 2 heads you can see HHT, HTH, THH, right? So that is 3. So favorable outcomes, that is 3. So probability is 3 upon 8, right? I hope this is clear to you. Now example 4, find the probability of getting a number less than 5 in a single throw of dice. Dice में आप देखते हैं 1 to 6 नंबर होते हैं, हमें less than 5 यानी 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So total outcomes 6 and favorable outcomes 4. 4 out of 6, 4 upon 6, answer is 2 upon 3. Okay, now example 5. 2 die are thrown together. Find the probability of getting the first one, a sum of 11. So we know that number of possible outcomes 6 into 6, that is 36. So sum of 11 can be possible with 5, 6 and 6, 5, only 2 ways. So 2 out of 36. So this is the probability of getting a sum of 11. So 2 by 36 means 1 upon 18. Now the second is a sum of 9. Sum of 9, 3, 6, 6, 3, 4, 5, 5, 4. So 4 cases, 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 out of 36, 4 by 36, that is 1 upon 9. Now exercise 12.4, based on such type of examples, see question number 2, a die is thrown once, find the probability of getting the first one an odd number. You know 1, 3 and 5, these are odd numbers. So 3 favorable outcomes and total outcome 6. So 3 upon 6, that is 1 by 2. Okay, the second one, a number less than 4, means 1, 2, 3. So 3 favorable outcomes. So 3 out of 6, 3 by 6. This is also 1 by 2. Okay. The third one, a composite number. You know 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. These are the possible outcomes. So which are composite number? Which are divisible by any other number also, like 4 and 6. 2 numbers are composite numbers here. So 2 out of 6. So answer is 1 by 3. Okay. Now the next is a number divisible by 2. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Out of 6 numbers, this and this. 3 numbers are divisible by 2. So 3 favorable outcomes. So 3 by 6. Answer is 1 by 2. Right? You have to write like this. Probability of event. Right? E. Okay. Now I hope this is clear to you. Similarly, you can try like fourth question. In a box there are 11 blue marbles, 13 green marbles and 6 red marbles. If one marble is drawn at random, find the probability of getting a red marble, the first part. So total marbles 11 plus 13, 24 plus 6, 30. So out of 30, so we want red. How many red? 6. So 6 times can be red. So 6 out of 30. 6 by 30, answer is 1 by 5. Probability of red marble. Okay. ऐसे हम blue marble का निकालेंगे. Blue how many? 11. So probability of blue marble, that is 11 upon 30. Right. So I hope this is clear to you. The third one, a green marble, 13 marbles are green. So 13 out of 30. Okay, very easy. So similarly, you can try remaining parts. Like here, 7th question, if 5 coins are tossed simultaneously, list the sample space with the help of a tree diagram and find the probability of getting. So you can try this one on your own. Very simple, very easy and very interesting. Now this is the assessment time competency based question. A part, multiple choice question. The first one, in a histogram, heights of the rectangles represent What represent? That is frequency, right? Now the second one, the number of times a particular observation occurs in a given data is called its frequency. Third part, right? The third one in interval 80 to 90, 90 is the upper limit. Okay. Now the fourth question, tally marks are used to find. Tally marks are used to find frequencies. Okay, fourth one. Now the fifth question, a collection of initial observations of anything which is not organized is called raw data. The sixth one, probability of an event lies between 0 and 1. And the seventh one, an operation that can produce some well-defined outcomes is called an experiment. Now the eighth question, when a coin is tossed, the total number of possible outcomes are, that is 2, okay, head or tail, right? Now the ninth one, when a dice is rolled, the total number of possible outcomes are 6, okay. Now see the next. 10th, if 3 coins are tossed simultaneously, the probability of getting exactly 3 heads is, okay, that is one case. So answer is 1 upon 8, because total outcomes 8. So 1 upon 8, right? Now come to B part, filling the blanks. The first one, the difference between the highest and the lowest values of observations in a data is called the dash of the data, that is range, right? The second one, each group data is called a class interval, okay. The third one, the difference between the two limits of any class is called the class size. The fourth one, the mid value of each class interval is called its class mark. The fifth one, for 5 occurrences of a particular item in a given data are recorded using tally marks as. तो 5 को हम कैसे लिखेंगे? Like this, one diagonal, right? The sixth one, sum of all the probabilities of all the events of an experiment is 1. The seventh, each outcome of an experiment is called an event, right? The eighth one, the set of all possible outcomes is called the sample space, S, sample space, right? Now the ninth one, P of E, probability of any event, that is number of favorable outcomes, upon total outcomes, total possible outcomes, right? Now the 10th one, the probability of an impossible event is always 0, right? Now come to C part, write T for true and F for false statements. The first one, the probability of an event lies between 0 and 1, both inclusive. Yes, this is true. The second one, the probability of a sure event is 0. No, this is false, right? The third one, the possible results of the experiment are called events. No, this is false, okay. The fourth one, when a dice is rolled, the sample space is 6. Yes, this is true. The fifth one, P of E equals to number of favorable outcomes to E divided by S. Yes, this is true. And the sixth one, mean equals to sum of all observations divided by number of observations. Yes, this is also true. And the seventh one, the number on the left of a class interval is called the upper limit. No, this is the lower limit. So this is false. Okay, now eighth one, in intervals 30 to 40 and 40 to 50. 40 is recorded in the interval 30 to 40. No, this is false, right? The ninth, the frequencies are generally plotted on the x-axis. No, we take along y-axis. The 10th one, in a histogram, the rectangles are drawn proportional to the frequencies of their classes. So yes, this is true. Now D part, case study based questions. In the summer, a survey was conducted among some people about their favorite drinks. So here, the following pie chart shows the data. Tea 30%, light color, light pink. Then hot coffee 25%. Then cold drinks 15%. Then coconut water 10%. And the last darkest one, that is juice 20%. So here answer these questions on the basis of the above data. The first, if 300 people like coffee, then the number of people on which survey was conducted. So coffee, how many people like coffee? That is 25%. So 25% of total, let it be x equals to 300. So 25 upon 100 into x equals to 300. You can find x, 300 into 100 upon 25. Cut it. So we are getting 1200. Okay. Similarly, second question, the ratio of number of people who like coffee to the total number of people is. So coffee 300 and total is 1200. Ratio is 3:12, 1:4. First part. Okay. Similarly, you can try third and fourth. Now E part, assertion reason based question, directions for question 1 to 2. In each of the questions given below, there are two statements marked as assertion A and reason R. Mark your answer as per the codes provided below. A part, both A and R are true and R is the correct explanation of A. B part, both A and R are true but R is not the correct explanation of A. C part, A is true but R is false, and D part, A is false but R is true. Question number 1, assertion A, the probability of an event always exists between 0 and 1. Yes, this is true. And the reason R, probability is defined as the ratio of the number of favorable outcomes to the total number of possible outcomes. This is also true but not the correct explanation of A. So answer is B. Okay, here we will write B. Okay, now come to question number 2, assertion A, the largest slice of a pie chart represents the category with most data points. Yes, this is true. And reason R, pie charts are useful tool for showing how different parts contribute to the whole. This is also true but not the correct explanation of A. So here answer is B. Okay, now we have some subjective type questions. You can try these one on your own. Now come to integrated question. G part, the table given below shows average monthly rainfall of Mumbai and Lucknow. So here we have rainfall for Lucknow and Mumbai and for different months, okay, for the whole year. Now a rain gauge is a tool to measure the amount of rain that has fallen over a period of time. So what to do? A part, make a bar graph to represent the data of rainfall in Lucknow. You can try this one. The second one, make a bar graph to represent the data of rainfall in Mumbai. Similarly, Mumbai के लिए बनाना है आपने bar graph. And then C part, make a double bar graph to represent the data shown above. फिर आपने double bar graph try करना है. And the last one, make a pie chart to represent the data of rainfall in Mumbai. So you can try this one on your own. Now this is the time of HOTS question. The first one, the diameters of circles in millimeter drawn in a design are given below. So diameters and here number of circles. So 33 to 37, 37 to 41, 41 to 45, 45 to 49, 49 to 53, and number of circles here 10, 15, 25, 20, 35. So what to do? Construct a histogram for the data. So you know very well how to construct a histogram. Draw x-axis and draw y-axis. Along x-axis you will take class interval and along y-axis you will take number of circles. आप देखो all are divisible by 5, so 5 ले लेंगे हम. 1 unit equals to 5 circles, so 5, 10, 15 like this, and then complete it, right? Because it is starting from 33, so you will take one kink over here. Now draw the rectangles. Okay, I hope this is clear to you. Similarly, you can try second and third question on your own. Now see the fourth question. The following table shows the marks scored by a group of 90 students in a mathematics test of 100 marks. So find the probability that a student obtained the first one less than 20% marks and the second one 60 or more marks. So here marks given and here number of students. So we have to find the probability that a student obtained less than 20% marks. So that is which class interval? This one. So 7. So 7 out of total 90, 7 upon 90, right? The second one 60 or more marks. So 60 or more marks, which class intervals? 60 to 70, 70 to 100. So 15 plus 8, that is 23 out of 90, right? So I hope this is clear to you. Now we have word stock, mean, graph, probability, outcomes, range, certainty, event, loss, die, trial, playing cards, rolling, arrange. Now 4 categories of cards. The first is diamond, second is heart, third is spade, and the fourth is club. And 3 picture cards. The first is jack, the second is queen, and the third is king. So I hope these are clear to you. So thank you for watching this video. Stay connected with us till the next video. Have a nice day and take care.